It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for the Walking Dead Summit spin-off with Rick and Michonne. We have some more behind the scenes photos, some pretty interesting and I would say plot revealing details that I do want to get through. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break these down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. First, we have these three pictures, which obviously show us some sort of filming going on in a city-like place, and obviously we know that they're filming in New Jersey, but this is probably supposed to be Philadelphia, which is where the Civic Republic itself is gonna be. I talked a little bit about that in some of my previous videos, so I'm not gonna dive into it here, but it is interesting that there's horses. I don't know if there's anything special about the city, but obviously if they have cars, which it looks like they do have it, then it doesn't make sense for there to be that many horses, at least inside the city, which this appears to be. So that's definitely super interesting. But there's also an RV there, which is cool because it's obviously a direct reference or an Easter egg to season 1 of The Walking Dead, because we did have an RV back then. So this is cool. Also, we do see a dead horse on the picture on the top left, so that's super interesting. I mean, The Walking Dead loves to kill its horses in the show, so I'm not surprised. Next, we have this pretty interesting picture on the left. We have what appears to be like a station or something like that, where there's like portraits on TVs, old TVs of course, but if you pay attention and zoom in, you can see that those are pretty much similar to the ones that we actually saw on The Walking Dead. We did have Michonne finding a phone, an iPhone, a really old iPhone, with sketches of Michonne and Judith on it, with his name on it, and also with something written in Japanese, I think. And the design of that matches the design of what we see on the TVs. Now, none of those are exactly the same, so obviously it's not like this is the same thing, but the fact that there are sketches like that is interesting. I mean, one thing that is the most obvious answer here is that there's someone there, an artist, who's designing these things. They're designing it on whatever you want, on a TV, on a phone, stuff like that. So I'm assuming that maybe this is why Rick had something similar, which he lost, and obviously Michonne found later on. But this is definitely something cool and interesting, and something that pretty much lines up with another thing that we saw in one of the clips that we talked about the other day from behind the scenes filming that they were doing, because it looked like there were a lot of artists and painters there. So this definitely lines up with that. So that's super interesting. Something that they're really focusing on, like artists and painters living in the Civic Republic. Another thing I do want to talk about is fans took pictures of newspapers that we see on the right hand side, newspapers that are obviously for the show. We see the Civic Republic Tribune, so this is the newspaper for the Civic Republic. We see some pretty interesting headlines. Civic Republic school system expands meal program and agricultural initiatives. And then there's another one that says majority of CRC candidates call for oversight of CRM. I'm assuming CRC is maybe like the Civic Republic committee, something like that. And CRM is obviously the Civic Republic military. So they want oversight over the military because they don't trust what they're doing. And obviously we know exactly the stuff that CRM does. So this pretty much lines up exactly with everything that's been teased so far. We have another one that reads Better Than Before, a continuing series. So I'm assuming they're comparing life at the Civic Republic to life before the apocalypse. So that's interesting. But another thing that I found very interesting is that this is something that was actually shown to us before. In the Walking Dead spin-off World Beyond, we had people living at CR or people that were related to CR reading the same type of newspaper. It wasn't the same issue, but it was the same newspaper. One had an article that read, "Military looks ahead to civilian oversight," which matches almost exactly to what we see in the newspaper that was in the Rick and Michonne spinoff, which was about majority of CRC candidates calling for oversight of CRM. So it's likely that those two are closer in timeline in terms of the issues in that universe. So that's interesting. Another one read, "CRM requests emergency delay of civilian oversight." So all of these things are talking about civilian oversight or CRC oversight of the CRM. So a lot of very similar kind of themes in all of these articles, which is super interesting. I'm intrigued to see how much they're going to dive into that story because it appears to be the majority of the story. Like, not majority per se, but like a big focus of the Civic Republic military story. So that's going to be super interesting in terms of how they're going to bring it together from all of these different spin-offs. Next, we have these pictures of Rick getting in someone's face and kind of getting really angry at them, obviously. And like I talked about in the previous video, a lot of people were saying it's Jadis, but I wasn't seeing it, especially in the low quality photos and clips. But in these photos, it's clear that it is Jadis. So this confirms that this is definitely Jadis or Anne. And some very interesting stuff is going to come up with the two of them. I'm sure that there's going to be conflict with the two of them, and I'm definitely super excited to see what's going to happen. People also have brought up the fact that there's some device on Rick's side on the picture on the right. Not a lot of people were sure what that is, and I can tell you that's actually a microphone. I have like the same one. I'm recording on the same one right now, so that's a microphone. Other than that, obviously Rick has the CRM jacket that he was wearing when he made the cameo at the end of the Walking Dead series itself. But not much more to talk about here. But we have some pictures of Michonne. Obviously, the one that gets you excited is the middle one, but I'll talk about the other two first. The one on the left, it looks like maybe she's wearing something closer to what she was wearing when we last saw her on the series itself. Same with the one on the right. But with that said, it looks like they're filming in the same city that Rick was in, the Civic Republic. So that is interesting. I don't know how that could be. Obviously, the one in the middle is Michonne wearing the CRM jacket, the same ones that Rick was wearing, which is super interesting. I mean, is Michonne with Rick? Does this confirm that they're together? Does this confirm that they reunite and they're at the Civic Republic together? Maybe. Or maybe Danai Gurira, who plays Michonne, is just there watching, and maybe she's just wearing the jacket, but it's not something that she'll be wearing in the show. So, some possibilities about how to explain that, but at the same time, it could very well be that she's wearing a CRM jacket because she's at the CR now. You know what I mean? So that's super interesting. I don't know which way, but I'm definitely intrigued. But this definitely reminds us a lot of Rick and Michonne teaming up. When they first got to Alexandria, they were wearing matching uniforms as being the sheriffs of Alexandria. Similarly here, they're wearing the same type of matching uniform at the CR, so that's cool. But like I said, maybe it's not that Michonne is wearing it. Maybe Danai Gurira is just there when they're filming, and she's just wearing it because it looks cool. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.